My caramel is almost at the right stage. It needs a couple more minutes because we're going to add it to some egg whites to create this chewy nougat. It just needs to get a little bit darker. So I'm going to start on my eggs, and I need 2 egg whites. And you want to make sure and pull out the eggs so that they're at room temperature. That way the nougat is soft and wonderful. So just get rid of the yolks. We don't need the yolks. And separate the eggs. I'm telling you, this is going to be so yummy. Very Italian. Okay, so let's beat the egg whites. Takes a couple minutes just to beat them up and get them nice and fluffy. All right, so now that they're nice and frothy, just want to take my caramel, which is 315 degrees, and take the thermometer off. You want to be really careful with this, okay? Because you don't want to burn yourself, and it's really hot. So now, I'm going to keep the egg whites going at a low speed, and you slowly add the caramel. And you want it to be at this golden color. And try and add it slowly because it's hot, and also because it's going to cook the egg whites. And you want to have it at a low speed so you never risk the chance of getting the caramel on you. And it's just very gentle, and it smells so good. Now that we've added all the caramel, we'll get rid of the pan, and you want to turn this up. And start whisking it so it gets nice and smooth and shiny. All right, while that happens, I'm going to grab my apricots and my vanilla. 1 teaspoon of vanilla, just to flavor it, make it a little more elegant. It's a good time to have a gummy bear. So now, I'm going to chop my apricots. And I like the apricots because you can see the orange inside of the nougat. And then I like to dip it in melted chocolate. So you get that dark chocolate color with that orange color from the apricots. Very Halloween. Here we go. See that color? That's what you want. So we're going to take the whisk off. See how nice and thick it is and glossy? I'm going to add half of the apricots. You want to add half on the inside and just kind of fold them in, and then the rest right on top. So now, with that, we'll grab my baking sheet. And what I did with the baking sheet is I basically just, we'll move this over. Basically, I just took some wax paper, and I put a piece horizontally and a piece vertically. I sprayed it with cooking spray. That way, the nougat won't stick to it. And you can always also spray the spatula if it sticks. And just kind of pour it all into the loaf pan. And you want the wax paper because it just makes it easier to pull out the nougat. So there we go. Perfect. Very exciting. It's so beautiful. And then I just sprinkle the remainder of the apricots right over the top of it. And then I put it in the fridge for a couple of hours so it gets nice and cold and sets up. And then I cut it up and I dip it in melted chocolate. And all I do is I just take the sides and I fold it down and cover it. And then you pop it in the fridge. It's time to finish the nougat. So let's grab the nougat. It's been sitting in the fridge for several hours, so it's nice and chilled. And what I like to do is I take the nougat, and remember that we had it on the wax paper so that it didn't stick? Well, I just pick it up and lay it down on the cutting board because we're going to cut it up. I've already got some semi-sweet chocolate chips melting, over a double boiler, and I take the nougat, and see, look at all of the apricots. How beautiful, right? Take it off. See how easy that was to do? Take a serrated knife. So this is what I do with a serrated knife. Just spray it a little bit. It's just so that the nougat doesn't stick. There we go. That's right. That's going to work just fine. So now I take the nougat, and I just cut it. Perfect. And I cut a piece off, and then cut it again in a few different pieces. And it just depends on what size you want the nougat to be. Then I grab my baking sheet that I line with some wax paper so it doesn't stick. I grab a piece of the nougat, and what I do is I dip it in the melted semi-sweet chocolate chip. It's all melted, so now I've got melted chocolate. And I just put it down on the wax paper because I want the chocolate to set. So just go ahead and dip it in the melted chocolate and set it down. All right, so I'm going to finish cutting the rest of my nougat and dipping it in chocolate. Anybody want nougat? You know what, Adriana, you like that. The nougat. Try one. Try the nougat. Yeah, I'm going to get you. Adriana's got chocolate on her teeth. Nice.
Well, you got paint on your face.